These are the times that try men's souls. The government is corrupt. The political system is dysfunctional. Both political parties have not only failed us, they have betrayed us. We cannot trust them with our futures. We, the people, must take back control ourselves. Welcome to the revolution, and welcome to Revolution Television. Thank you for joining us here at AEA4USA.com, headquarters for the Second American Revolution, AR2. My name is Lawrence Hebron. And now for our revolutionary look at the news. Headline: Russian missiles headed for Iran. Well, last week, Russian President Vladimir Putin approved the delivery of advanced air defense missile systems to Iran. The S-300 surface-to-air system is very sophisticated and can be used against multiple targets, including jets and missiles. Our Israeli allies, of course, are profoundly concerned about this development. Putin tried to dismiss their fears by saying that Israel shouldn't be worried because this was a purely defensive weapon. Well, of course, this purely defensive weapon allows Iran to protect its purely offensive nuclear program, which does pose a direct threat to Israel, the United States, and pretty much anyone else that may anger the jihadists in Iran. As feared, Obama's pusillanimous and foolhardy negotiating stance regarding Iran's development of nuclear capabilities is bearing bitter fruit. The direct connection between Obama's negotiations and the Russian deal was confirmed by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, who said that the preliminary agreement on settling the Iranian nuclear standoff struck earlier this month made the ban on the S-300 missiles unnecessary. So, President Obama, is this what you expected? If it is, then you are a traitor to this nation and its people. The nation and people you are supposed to protect against all others. If you did not expect this, then you are a fool. There are no other options. If you are a fool and have any integrity, you would resign. After first securing an agreement from your vice president to immediately resign as well because he drinks the same flavor of Kool-Aid that you do. If you are a traitor, then the last act of your outgoing attorney general must be to have you arrested, indicted, and tried. Fat chance of either of these things happening. And so, as we have argued so many times on Revolution Television, we the people are stuck with either incompetent fools or traitors for leaders. One of the elements of wisdom is to anticipate problems before they happen, so you don't have to solve them after they happen. The Obama administration not only fails to anticipate problems, it aggressively works to precipitate them. Well, Ian, I'd like your thoughts on this. The Russian president tried to ease everyone's fears by dismissing these missiles as merely defensive. You were in the military. Wouldn't you agree that a nation's offensive capabilities aren't worth much if you can't defend them?
Yeah, I would say that's pretty kind of obvious, really, to the average person. It doesn't even require any military experience. I mean, let's talk about weapons, first of all. What is the difference between an offensive weapon and a defensive weapon? None. The only difference is how they're used, maybe some tactics involved, whether you're moving forward or holding a position, or even maybe moving backwards if things are going really, really bad. But, you know, I think there's a much broader thing here that we need to talk about. These S-300 missiles are some of the most advanced missiles that Russia has. Could this be a move to block Israel from being able to take out Iran's nuclear facilities? Kind of makes you wonder a little bit about that. Or maybe they think this is somehow going to stabilize the Middle East? Really? I just don't understand the thinking there. So now might as well be tossing fuel on the fire, because I think that's exactly what we're doing. Israel could find itself in a position where it has to move up its attack timetable. if it's going to stop Iran's nuclear ambitions? I mean, after all, they have said that the annihilation of both Israel and America is on their wish list, their bucket list. What could be the motivations there?
Well, I would agree with this too, having spent some time in the military. Offense and defense are just two different sides of the same coin, and they work together to mutually support one another. When you strengthen somebody's defensive capabilities, you strengthen their offensive capabilities. I mean, look at how the Russians have objected to an anti-missile system on the part of the United States, or locating such an anti-missile system in areas that are it would render their offensive systems ineffective. Of course, there is a connection between defensive and offensive systems. Our defensive missile systems to protect against first Soviet and now Russian missiles strengthens our offensive capability. And the same thing is true here with Iran as it relates to Israel and the rest of the world. And you've touched on something else that I think is an important thing. And I want to explore this a little bit further. The consequences of this action by the president and the response by Russia. These missiles will help Iran defend its developing nuclear weapons program, something that they've been working at for a number of years. As such, these missiles greatly enhance Iran's future offensive capabilities. Now, these offensive capabilities, in turn, pose a grave threat to others, in particular, as you've said, the United States and Israel. Now, Israel is certainly showing a lot more guts these days than we are under the Obama administration. So I'd like to explore a little bit further, maybe put you on the spot a bit. What do you think are the chances of Israel unilaterally launching a preemptive strike that you've mentioned against Iran before the S-300 missiles start arriving in about 6 months or so?
Oh man, I wouldn't want to take those odds in Vegas. I mean, I think, well, I think they're pretty good actually. I think that Israel is quickly losing its window of opportunity in order to make a real impact on what's going on there. So let's look at the scenario. Let's say it goes a little bit further and Iran does develop its nuclear capability. They have sworn that they would use it. So Israel is in extreme risk at that point. Extreme risk. So what's the goal? Again, what is their goal? Now, I just saw in the news this morning, they were talking about how American naval forces are pursuing an Iranian supply ship that's headed towards, I believe it's Yemen. And it's supposedly carrying arms. So at the same time, they're talking peace. They're arming the rebels in Yemen. At the same time, the Russians are supplying Iran with advanced weapons. And the United States is doing a blocking operation while we're supposedly talking peace with them, while we're supposedly have this negotiation on to open up commerce with Iran. Now, let's look at the money side of that for a sec. So all of the billions that are frozen assets that Iran has, if those become unfrozen, liquid assets for them to use, what are they going to use that on? I really don't think they're going to use it on the Iranian people. And it's not going to help them. Could that possibly get them to the next level in their nuclear technology? Could that actually be the fuel, the catalyst that's necessary to start the next world war? I mean, those are some serious things that we need to talk about. We got the Clown Brigade doing the negotiations for us. I mean, these guys are absolute fools. I don't see the thinking, the logic here. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
I think this negotiating tactic of the Obama administration is extremely foolhardy. Now, Obama can draw his lines in the sand and they're going to blow away in the first light breeze that comes along. We've already seen that. But the Israelis have a bit more gumption than that. and they've got a bit more at risk. Actually, not a whole lot more at risk, but they are more immediate peril than the United States. I think there's probably a line in the sand that Israel has drawn. They cannot allow a nuclear jihadist Iran, period. And I think that if it gets to the point where it looks like they are on the verge of accomplishing that, they will strike. They have in the past. They've struck others in the past. And I think that these S-300s are a game changer over there. They will greatly strengthen Iran's ability to protect any kind of offensive capability it has, and certainly that includes a nuclear offensive capability that we'll be developing over the next few years, maybe even less time than that. So I think that if something definite hasn't happened about that limiting Iran's nuclear capability, that is a line in the sand that Israel cannot allow to be trespassed. And they will take some action before those S-300s are in there. Now, if that happens, like you said, I think the odds are pretty good that Israel will take some preemptive action. If that happens, if they do strike Iran, I mean, think about it. Is it really very likely that the Ayatollah and all his mullahs are just going to say, oh, well, gee, sorry about the trouble we caused, and then return to the back of the room, sit down, and shut up? I don't think so. So, Ian, don't you think that Iran might be likely to respond in some significant way if Israel launches a preemptive strike?
I think they would. I think that they would definitely use proxy attacks through Hezbollah and the Palestinians. I'm sure that they would even consider a direct attack. The one obstacle that they have is they have some real estate to get through before they can actually physically attack Israel. However, they could fire some missiles. I think they have some intermediate missile technology, intermediate range missile technology. This also could bring in other combatants into the mix, the classic Jews versus the, Islamo Nazis. And I think that it could spawn, this whole thing could spiral out of control very, very quickly. And it could go a myriad of different directions. And we've only talked about a handful of players involved. There are a lot more, obviously.
Well, as we wrap up this segment dealing with the missiles going to Iran from Russia and the consequences of it, let's sum this up. And let me see if I have this straight. The Obama administration's negotiating agenda purportedly is designed to secure peace. But instead of blocking the way for Iran to eventually secure nuclear weapons, it actually paves the way for them to secure weapons. Furthermore, it opened the door for the Russians to provide Iran with advanced air defense missiles, which could encourage a preemptive strike by Israel, which in turn could provoke a retaliatory strike by Iran. Mr. President, you're quite a genius. There is war written all over your peace plan. It seems like Obama is channeling the ghost of Neville Chamberlain. And we all saw where that resulted. Well, that is our revolutionary look at the news. A couple of quotes to go along with it. A couple of things for you to think about. True wisdom comes to each of us when we realize how little we understand about life, ourselves, and the world around us. Socrates. And a long habit of not thinking a thing wrong gives it a superficial appearance of being right. Thomas Paine. So think about those couple of things as they pertain to the Obama administration. Well, as we wrap up, I'd like to remind you that we here at Revolution Television are produced by the American Eagle Alliance, which is leading the charge in fighting the Second American Revolution, AR2. Among other things, we conduct Patriot Training Days that will teach you and your organization how to fight and win the Second American Revolution in less time than it took to win the first, without taking over the White House, the Congress, the Supreme Court, or any constitutional amendments. In 1776, we the people rocked the world. It's time to do it again. And we'll tell you how. So give us a call at 909-913-7878. Again, 909-913-7878. We'll come and talk to you about AR2 or about any of the other notions in AR2 Handbook for the Second American Revolution, or Solutions Guidebook for Rebuilding America the Great. Remember, you can always go to aea4usa.com and see past recorded episodes such as these on other items of interest to the Patriot community and other material as well. Again, that's aea4usa.com. Well, thanks again for listening. Tell your friends that they can listen to archived episodes on Revolution Television on aea4usa.com. Now, let's get cracking, Patriots. We've got a country to save.
I am a rebel, I am American, and when it needs to be, you wait and see, you know I can. I am a rebel, I am a Minuteman, and I will always fight for God and right, that's where I stand. My evolution is revolution. I was born in blood, fought through the mud with resolution. I'm a farmer, I am a soldier. I just want to be free, but mess with me, you'll see there are none bolder. Wow! Come on! I am a rebel, I am American, and when it needs to be, you wait and see, you know I can. There is no enemy that is too strong for me. From George III to Marx's word, my way is victory. A son of Washington, daughter of Jefferson, and though I always seek the way of peace, beware my gun. I'm not afraid to fight for all that's dear and right, and if you tread on me, then you will see an awesome light. Wow! I am a rebel, I am American, and when it needs to be, you wait and see, you know I can. I fight for liberty against all tyranny. From foreign lands or close at hand, these are my enemy. The stars and stripes and human rights. In God we trust, this is a must, our future's bright. Don't want a handout, that's not what it's about. Just want a chance to see what liberty can do for me. Woo! And now I stand on hallowed land. No going back, we will attack lines in the sand. 'Cause I'm a rebel, I am American, and when it needs to be, you wait and see, you know I can. 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 You know I can.